From the charred scrolls found beneath the ash of Vesuvius to the forgotten symbols on the bones of ancient kings, modern technology has reached the point where today, artificial intelligence is revealing mysteries that were thought lost for centuries. Ancient hieroglyphs, paintings, symbols, writings, all of this now gains meaning and can ultimately shock humankind. The final points will change everything we knew about the past, so watch until the end. Enjoy the viewing. Acadian Cuneiform. The Acadians left behind a veritable sea of clay tablets. More than 500,000 pieces gather dust in museum storerooms around the world, and the vast majority of them have still never been read. The language is harsh and the grammar extremely complex. On the planet, there are only a few hundred specialists capable of deciphering cuneiform unaided. But in 2023, the rules of the game changed. Researchers from Tel Aviv University and Ariel University trained a neural network on thousands of already deciphered Akkadian texts. Imagine Google Translate, only for a language 5 millennia old. The translation is instantaneous, the accuracy astonishing. In parallel, the project AI Cuneiform Corpus, led by Steve, yes, there are Steves in academia, ran more than 130,000 tablets from the CDLI and ORACC databases through algorithms. Germany did not stay on the sidelines either. Research groups employed three-dimensional scanning and neural networks to recognize 21,000 signs on almost 2,000 tablets. Conspiracy theorists expect curses and magic formulas, but the reality is far more down to earth. Trade contracts, tax ledgers, quotations from the Epic of Gilgamesh. The most ancient, literate civilization suddenly became talkative, and it intends to speak long and loud. We switch over, when a drawing is no longer just art, but a key to the doors of eternity. Egyptian hieroglyphs. They are recognized at first glance, falcons of Horus, ankhs, sailing boats. To decipher these extraordinarily complex symbols once meant months of routine with a magnifying glass and a dictionary. Everything was changed by the Fabricius Project, 2020, in which Google Arts and Culture joined forces with Macquarie University and several museums. The service has three modes. In work mode, the AI, through AutoML, compares a photographed hieroglyph with a cloud database, taking into account Gardner's list and parallel translations. What used to cost an Egyptologist an entire excavation season now takes a couple of clicks. Fabricius does not simply recognize a sign. It offers several possible readings and grammatical roles, linking them with neighboring symbols in the text. Of course, hieroglyphs hide both phonetics and ideograms as well as function signs. The AI is still far from an error-free, instant translation. But the pyramids do not need to move. It is enough that our understanding of the inscriptions inside their stone corridors has made a gigantic leap. We leave stone, but the mysteries of bone speak no less loudly. Oracle Bone Script. More than 3,000 years ago, the rulers of the Shang dynasty in China heated turtle plastrons and ox scapulae so that diviners could read the cracks and carve questions on them about war, harvest, and fate. Thus was born the Oracle Bone Script, the earliest form of Chinese writing. In 2024, the team of Haixu Guan created the OBSD system based on diffusion models, training it on the Hust OBC library with more than 140,000 images of signs. The algorithm not only recognized the symbols, it reconstructed damaged fragments and matched them with modern characters with incredible precision. Also contributing is the Oracle Bones Corpus project from Tencent, allowing researchers to compare millennia-old shards instantly, finding matches in real time. Once bones served as a bridge to the gods of the future. Now, the future itself, in the guise of AI, answers the questions of ancient kings, translating their anxieties and victories into digits and tables. But what if an inscription hides right before your eyes, beneath a later hand? Palimpsests. Not all secrets are underground. Some lie on the surface, erased and written over again. A palimpsest is a manuscript in which the original text was scraped off and a new one written on top. A masterpiece of the genre is the Archimedes Palimpest. Beneath Byzantine prayers, the mathematical genius of antiquity slept for a long time. In 2021, the team of Anna Sadzinska and David Messenger trained deep generative networks to recognize different layers of ink. A multispectral snapshot, and the machine slides the upper text aside like a transparent film, letting us read what was thought lost forever. The method is quickly applied to hundreds of manuscripts, from Byzantine treatises to medieval medical scrolls. In ancient legends, people seek conspiracies and dark magic, but the true power lies in resurrected science, philosophy, and astronomy. Artificial intelligence does not merely read what was erased. It gives forgotten authors back their voice. The Indus script. We rise to South Asia and meet one of archaeology's greatest riddles. The writing of the Indus civilization, which flourished between 26th and 19th centuries before the Common Era, consists of short lines of strange glyphs on talisman seals, pottery, and copper plates. No Rosetta Stone equivalent, no bilingual hint, only neat symbols and a strikingly peaceful culture without traces of conquest. In 2009, Professor Rajesh P. N. Rao decided it was time to apply mathematics. He built a Markov model, fed it all known inscriptions, and statistics showed the sequences are far too ordered to be random. Then, deep neural networks were added. They identified recurring clusters and achieved more than 80% accuracy in segmenting the signs. The hitch: most texts are shorter than a tweet, and the base language remains unknown. Nevertheless, a full decoding of the script earns a prize of $1 million. AI shortens the distance day by day, so someone will soon gain both the money and the first living voice of this elusive civilization. The Meroitic language. We follow the Nile downstream to the ancient kingdom of Meroe, little known yet powerful, flourishing roughly from the 3rd century before the Common Era to the 4th century of the Common Era on the territory of modern Sudan. The Meroites had 2 alphabets, solemn hieroglyphs on stelae and cursive for everyday records. After a century of research, no bilingual inscription or dictionary has appeared. The door is locked from the inside. Today, the CSAIL laboratory at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology is working on the break-in. These models, which have already cracked Ugaritic and Linear B, search for structural logic, statistical links between symbols, repeated suffixes, formal skeletons of words. The material is scarce, the records short, but each digitized slab raises the odds. If the machines revive the forgotten language of Nubia, imagine what they will reveal when they reach the temples of Egypt. Rangoro. We travel halfway around the planet, to Easter Island. In the 1860s, a script called Rangoro was found on carved wooden tablets. The lines run left to right, then you flip the board and the text continues mirrored like a snake. There are no living speakers, only about 24 tablets survive, and the culture that created them vanished by the early 20th century. For decades, scholars argued, a true alphabet or mere decoration. In the 1950s, Butenhoff and Knorozov saw calendrical cycles in the signs. In the 1990s, Stephen Fisher read myths of creation, yet consensus remains elusive. Now AI steps in. Computer vision cuts out every glyph from photographs, builds a catalog, and searches for similar structures in known writing systems. The algorithm does not translate, but it identifies linguistic markers: symbol order, frequency, repetition. Wood that lay silent for centuries suddenly pulses in digital form. The past is not always lost. Sometimes it just needs a better algorithm. The Isthmian script. Mesoamerica is famed for the Maya and Zapotecs, but the Ismian, also epi-Olmec script, is the eternal outsider. Inscriptions appear on the Tuxtla statuette, the La Mojara stela, and a few other artifacts dated between the 5th century before the Common Era and the 5th century of the Common Era. Some scholars insist it is a language. Others say the corpus is too scant. In the 1990s, Justison and Kaufman proposed a partial decoding, but debate rages on. A full-scale AI project has not yet tackled Isthmian, yet MIT evolutionary models already track how languages change over time. Feed them new scans, and they will compare order, morphology, and frequency of signs, hinting at possible phonetics. All that is missing is more data. The tools are ready. The stone is carved. Now we must make it speak. Linear B and the Ugaritic script. We leap to the Bronze Age Aegean world. Linear B, narrow strokes of a reed stylus on clay, served the Mycenaean Greeks. It is the oldest form of Greek, and for 1.5 centuries, scholars battled every stroke until in 1952 amateur architect Michael Ventris proved it a syllabic Greek script. 6 decades later, in 2019, an MIT team led by Jiamin Luo and Regina Barzilay decided that computers should solve it faster. An algorithm trained on parallels between Linear B and modern Greek translated 67% of cognates in mere hours, matching ancient syllables with modern descendants as though bridging 3.5 millennia. Now we head east to late Bronze Age Syria. The Ugaritic cuneiform script, a 30-sign alphabet on clay, recorded royal contracts and hymns to the gods. In 2010, Ben Snyder and Kevin Knight, again at MIT, aligned a corpus of Ugaritic tablets with biblical Hebrew. Result: automatic decipherment in hours versus decades of manual epigraphy. Both projects proved, where a related language and ample data exist, a neural net outpaces an archaeologist, and the past stops whispering. It speaks loudly and clearly. The Nazca lines. But what if writing is not on tablets, but on the ground? Peru's arid Nazca Desert is etched with white grooves, human-made trenches 2,000 years old. Since the 1920s, archaeologists counted 430 geoglyphs. Yet, in 2024, Yamagata University, with IBM Research, trained a neural network on satellite and drone images. AI marked fractal-like contours, and in 6 months added 303 figures. Alongside the hummingbird, monkey, and spider appeared cats, whales, human forms, and mini geoglyphs, only 3 meters long, hidden near ancient trails. Scholars think some lines were made for pilgrims' feet, not sky gods' eyes. The astronaut hypothesis fades, but the mystery remains. AI merely sped the hunt for clues the desert winds hid for a century. Inca Quipus. When language is tied, not written. High in the Andes, the Inca Empire stored memory in quipus, bundles of multicolored cords where knots and gaps encoded numbers. Spanish chroniclers saw livestock counts and taxes. Full stop. The 21st century decided a knot can be a bit. Anthropologist Sabine Hyland found colonial papers describing a written quipu. Chords carried legends. Statisticians and linguists modeled knot positions. Colors, pendant layout, and spotted repetitions typical of phonetic systems. Algorithms build graphs of links, reading a syllabary with no letters. Every scanned quipu, imperial ledger or village census adds pixels to a colossal mosaic. Perhaps woolen threads hold songs, not just taxes. AI untangles chords. Maybe soon, an epic the Inca never carved in stone will speak aloud. Nushu, the women's secret script. We move to the green hills of Hunan, China. Nushu is the world's only script made and used solely by Yao women, who for centuries denied formal literacy, wrote on fans and silk songs of love, longing, and solidarity, encoding fates in thin, floating strokes. By the 21st century, the last users had passed, and the script neared extinction. In 2025, Dartmouth College launched Nushu Rescue. Just 35 parallel Nushu Chinese phrases primed GPT-4 Turbo. It reached 50% translation accuracy, a breakthrough for a script with barely 100 digital texts. Meanwhile, the AI Nushu team modeled symbol evolution, how characters streamlined as mothers taught daughters. This is culture-saving, not pure linguistics. Where brides' sorrows were whispered, now AI's synthesized voice rings, and the ancient women's song at last is heard worldwide. The Voinich Manuscript. Some riddles don't whisper, they mock. The 6th-century-old Voinich Manuscript looks imported from a planet where botanists and astronomers stroll rainbows barefoot. Pages show non-existent plants, shaky zodiac charts, and nude women in watercolor spirals. The chief torment is the text. No known alphabet, 0 key. In 2018, Alberta researchers posited an enciphered Hebrew without vowels. Their neural net matched 80% of words, even reading, "She gave advice to the priest at home." The world buzzed. Solved. Biblical scholars cooled the frenzy. Grammar tilts, meanings blur, even Google Translate shrugs. Next year, Briton Gerard Cheshire claimed proto-romance, maybe medieval nuns on women's health. Skeptics frowned. No phonetics, no lexicon. AI struck, scholars struck. The tome only grins its inky grin. Perhaps it is history's prank or the best hidden voice of the past. But where paper laughs, stone thunders with thousands of signs. Maya glyphs. By visual complexity, Maya glyphs wear the crown. Spirals within spirals, masks within masks, each slab a fractal. A century and a half of epigraphy meant magnifiers and tracing paper until, in 2023, West Virginia University's artful algorithms melded art history with computer vision. Models isolated every glyph on temple stelae or ceramics, marking pixel by pixel where a jaguar head ends and a maze bundle begins. Meanwhile, the segmentation of Maya hieroglyphs project taught foundational nets to split overlapping signs, key to dense compound blocks, where a god's name intertwines with an eclipse date. AI augments pioneers, like Yuri Knorozov, who cracked phonetics in the 1950s. Years shrink to seconds. Some glyphs recount royal feats, others record taxes of maize and cacao. Yet sometimes, an island's runes lead to the Mediterranean's heart. Cypro Minoan script. More than 2 millennia ago, Cyprus birthed a puzzle, Cypro Minoan writing, between 1550 and 1500 before the Common Era. Scholars debated 1 alphabet or 3. Tablets, cylinders, clay spheres, even ritual stands bear about 900 signs, but no bilingual clue was left. Recent unsupervised deep learning studies suggest all variants form one system. Algorithms compared strokes and hooks across thousands of images, found repeating rhythms, and declared the rules stable. Convolutional Ge'ans then compared Cypro with relatives, Linear A, and early Semitic scripts, highlighting family likeness. Translation is absent, but structural harmony hints. Somewhere a digital Rosetta awaits. Cyprus has not yielded its secrets, yet AI already knocks on Bronze Age doors. The Etruscan world. In Rome's shadow, once reigned a people who built arches and sewers before Latin legions. Their cities, temples, and tombs hold thousands of inscriptions, yet Etruscan stands alone. No close kin, no translation stone, only phrases whose endings repeat on mirrors, urns, slabs. Modern linguists swapped a tower of guesses for algorithms. Vast Etruscan corpora feed neural networks of distributed semantics. The machine tags frequent suffixes, clusters probable verbs, even maps likely case chains. It does not know Shuthena, but notes it near names and burial dates, labeling it funerary related. AI never tires, never misses a cracked stroke, vital when you rebuild grammar from 2 millennia-old phrases. Every fresh, digitized sarcophagus adds a brick of understanding, and each run amplifies the people of the North. History is not finished speaking. The Etruscan half-whisper is our journey's last chord, yet far from the finale. That is all 20 languages and mysteries, each being pulled from oblivion by artificial intelligence. If you enjoyed our new release, give a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to Top Facts so you never miss our new videos, which, by the way, have already appeared on your screen.